5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
So we were talking about you then start the Amazon business, right?
Yeah.
And I find that one a pretty interesting story. But yeah, just talk about that. So
okay. Yeah, so
I hate when people over ask a question, you know what I mean? And so then it's when you said okay, I was like, all right, that's good enough.
Ready to dive deep into this Amazon business. So it seemed like a really logical step for me, having done the e-commerce part with the shishas, the Egyptian hookahs, and don't get any dirty
Egyptian hookers,
Egyptian hookahs, and now just wanting to do it properly. So I knew how much time the packing and the purchasing and everything took, and it's not the work that my brain really wants to do or feels like a sense of accomplishment when I packed so many boxes. So
was there like this itch from when you did the first e-commerce business, and then you kind of this nagging thing of you think about the things that, if I'd have known this, if I would have known that, I could improve this. And so was there like this feeling of unfinished business that you wanted to do e-commerce again but do it better? Or did you just like e-commerce so much that...
Interesting question. Maybe there was not, how do you say?
Not a nagging feeling, but...
Not intentionally. Like I wasn't subconscious, yeah. I wasn't really thinking about, man, I gotta do this again and do it properly now. I failed. No, I just felt like, okay, it would be fun to do it again, but then how to make it even more fun, how to scale it even more, how to make more impact with the new knowledge I have. Let's do it this and this way. So I was looking for a solution on how can I properly scale e-commerce, and I just went on Google, found a Quora thread.
Yep.
And I saw this guy saying, yeah, man, people on Amazon are selling through FBA, and they will pack and store everything for you. It's passive income. So I didn't believe the whole passive
FBA
income
is fulfilled
part.
by Amazon, right?
Yeah, exactly, fulfilled by Amazon. Didn't know anything about it. We didn't have such a system in the Netherlands or in Europe, of which I knew of at the time. So I started looking up, and I thought, okay, this is amazing. They take all the work out of your hands. You basically only focus on the marketing part, the product design part, that's so important. And they'll pick and pack, they'll ship to wherever in the US and even worldwide. So, okay, for me, it sounded like this is the step I need to make. What do I need? What do I need to invest? And I need a product idea, of course. So contacted the same guy I started the Egyptian hookah website with, and told the whole story. So Lupko again. And we just hang out one night. He started digging into categories, digging into Amazon. Okay, where's a gap? Where's a gap we can fill? Something unique. We always wanted to build a product that wasn't there yet, something completely new, so we wouldn't have Chinese copycats or wherever they come from.
We know you're not racist. There's a lot of Chinese copycats in the e-commerce space.
Vietnamese copycats.
American copycats, they're everywhere.
Oh yeah, let's skip the Asian part. So after one night, and I think Lupko came with this idea. He saw the Squatty Potty from the Shark Tank, and it was a massive success on Amazon in this small category called toilet stools.
Toilet stools.
So for the people that don't know Squatty Potty, I think you're American.
They probably know it.
Yeah, they probably know it. It's an aid for the toilet where you prop up your feet, and it basically puts you in a natural squatting position. So evolutionary, we would always go down through the knees in the squat position, but like a really deep squat. And there is an actual muscle in your body that releases around your large intestine. And the muscle relaxes as soon as you go into this deep squat. And as soon as it relaxes, everything flows out naturally. So it has
that's a great way to put it. You can tell you've told this story before,
so
and
many
now
times.
you really know how to tell it.
So many times. So when we introduced, we had these French toilets a while when we first got the proper toilets, and those were squatting toilets as well. You still have them when you go to the more rural areas in France. You go squatting into the holes in the ground. But then as soon as the kings wanted the proper seat where they could sit down and do the thing, porcelain throne, really. It's linked from that part in history that the whole upcoming of even colon cancer, IBS, all these IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, all these issues with bowels and intestines, they came from that part, and they started doing more research where they would compare countries, especially in China, where there was such a huge people would change their life so quickly with the new money. They would go from completely rural areas, they would go to the city, and they would go from holes in the ground as toilets to proper toilets in apartment buildings. And you could see from that change also came a big change in IBS, in all these diseases, which they're still not 100% sure if it's linked to this change in toilet, but there's a good reason to believe it is. And some Japanese research also did a proper research with people using different positions to go to the toilet, and saw many benefits of going.
No toilets in Japan for sure.
You do?
No, they do. They do. No,
they do. Yeah. Proper
the toilet experts over there. Yeah.
Anyways, so this led us to make the best toilet stool in the world.
We thought. What did the reviews say? Did the reviews agree?
4.4, 4.5 stars.
You're a little sensitive about it. Wanted that 4.7.
We had 4.7. Had a few flaws, but so we wanted to improve on three things. One was the squatty potty was large and clunky. You had to keep it in the toilet. You couldn't store it away. So whenever visitors came, they would see the white big elephant in the tiny room, and they would ask about it. What is this? You would have to explain all your IBS, all your bowel issues. So that was one thing, storability. Second was, believe it or not, people really wanted to take it with them. So they would go to the gym, and they would want to properly go to the toilet there.
I mean, I could understand like if you go to the hotel or vacation, but
gym? We had, you won't believe how many customers we had asking for a travel bag because they wanted to take it with them to the gym.
Crazy.
So second one was portability, storability, portability. And the other one was adjustability.
Man, you're ready for Shark Tank with all your abilities.
We need 200K for 10%.
Who's got it?
So the other one was adjustability, because you do not have the same height as your roommate, for example, who is like, what do you say in the US, 4 foot. 4 foot 6.
A midget roommate trying to spread rumors about you. Tell everybody I live alone, and then now Merlijn's got people thinking I got a 4 foot something midget roommate.
Your 3 foot girlfriend.
Okay,
she
let's
needs
say
a different setting.
I'm 5'10", so let's say 6 foot something roommate, bigger guy than me.
Yeah.
Which in the Netherlands
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan's your roommate. You need adjustability.
This guy needs a different toilet stool than you would need. So with those three things in mind, we made the first wooden, so made it from sustainable bamboo.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Made like a design where you could put it 3 heights, 7-inch, 8-inch, 9-inch, all scientifically proven heights.
Were you selling in the US to begin with?
Only US.
Really?
Yeah, and then expanded to UK and Germany. So we launched our product, but we really took our time to develop the packaging. We wanted to have like an Apple feel and everything, which backfired against us because people said, man, this packaging looks so expensive. Why am I paying top dollar? Just keep it simple. So we reverted the whole packaging to a
But was it that much more expensive to do the really nice packaging?
The packaging was, so the cost of the product, 2 bamboo footstools, was $7.50. Packaging was $4.5.
Wow. So they were right, probably, actually.
They were right. So we
but
changed
you as a beginning, kind of still a fairly beginning entrepreneur, you're thinking like, how do I make it as good as possible? And how do I make people love it? And you want good reviews. So you think, oh, the packaging's got to be great.
We were 100% beginners. We would figuring everything out as we went. So yeah, we wanted to do it perfectly. Packaging had to be perfect. Little magnet flap. Everything was so smooth. You open it and you, oh man, this felt expensive. But people didn't want it expensive. They just want a nice product, simple packaging. So yeah, I think that's also the main takeaway of this whole business, that I really like and I really value learning by doing. Just not taking a course or anything, but just creating an account, creating an Amazon account, figuring out the whole system behind it. Just send in a batch of products and then see how it goes from there. If it fails, you just think of it at the moment when it fails, you think of a solution. Just as it goes, try to adapt. So that was one thing I really liked. And I also noticed that me and Lupko both, we were different in that regard than competitors, or not competitors directly of that product, but other Amazon sellers. They would first do a course of half a year, then still feel insecure on how to start, maybe do a few things, but not really ready. They felt to send in the products. What if this happens? What if that happens? And it would only cause delay. So yeah, I think that's one valuable thing for myself, for sure, to not overthink things. Just do it. Sounds much easier than it is, of course, but just take the first step, and then you automatically roll into the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth, and you get going.
Can you give it like a tangible example of that, maybe? Real life example of just that first step, taking and then leading it to the second?
Yeah, the first. Okay, so for example, I think in the same business, a good example was, how do we make a proper product listing? How do we make the page perfect with the good photos, the good copy? How do we make it convert? We had no idea. So what we did was just ship in the products, and it gave us 30 days before the products would arrive in the US. And this was then our deadline. We had 30 days to make a product page. If it worked, didn't work. If it did work, well, good for us. Then we could maybe improve and see what else had to be done. But just setting sort of forced deadlines for ourselves. So we had to complete, otherwise the business would stall. That really made us just do it. And then by doing it, you would see, okay, the sales are happening, but it's not great. You would then see what we all learned with the digital marketing part is, okay, conversion is 6%, industry average is 12%. So we're doing something wrong. Something can be better. Then you simply do A/B testing. You add this picture, you add that, and you learn as you go. So that's I think an example of learning by doing. Also, I thought I had a second example, but
no, I think that's a good one actually, because it's also, I find it now more difficult to do things now that I actually know what I'm doing. Before, when I didn't really know what I was doing, it was actually much easier, and I could get a lot more done. So I told you, I think last time, that I'm writing a blog post about this right now that I plan to publish on LinkedIn soon. But basically, in the beginning, every e-commerce shop or whatever it is that I would start, I would install. So I did them all on WordPress, because when you talked about when you start to, every time you learn a new tool and you get on that, it opens up kind of a new world of possibilities and stuff. That was WordPress for me, because there was so much customability there, like so many things you could do to customize things.
Yeah, WordPress is amazing.
Different stuff. And so for me, when I first discovered WordPress, that was a game changer of all the stuff that I could do. And then there's this plugin for WordPress that every WordPress person knows called Seo Yoast. And so it basically, you have all these, like you have your keyword and it starts as a red dot, and you want to turn the red dot to green. That means that your SEO on that is good. So I would always just kind of like, there's a few criteria where it's like the keyword has to be in the text so many times. You need minimum number of words. It needs to be in these different places. And so I was just I knew about SEO from my job of selling, digital marketing services in the US. And when I started my first blog, I was just always trying to optimize stuff. And I didn't have like an elaborate expectation of what things needed to be. When I was selling the very first t-shirt that I ever offered for sale, it was on like the tool was called like Teespring or something like that. And the mockup was like the shittiest mockup ever. But I just thought, okay, I have a blog here. How do I monetize it? I hate ads. I don't want to put ads on my site. I'll offer a t-shirt. So I make my own little t-shirt, it says Wheezy's I think it just said littleweezy.net on it, which was the name of the site. sold that, and it was like a couple people were buying it, and I was like,
Your site name was Little Weezy?
LilWeezy.net
Yeah.
for Lil
Nice.
Wayne, yeah. And
Lil Wayne fans. Okay.
and then eventually I was like, actually, I need better shirts. I need better designs. And I need a better page. And your expectations actually at a certain point exceed the expectations of your customers.
Yeah.
But if you don't have consistent feedback and like communication back and forth with your customers, you don't actually know that. So it's easy for your demands to exceed what you should actually be doing effort wise, you know?
Yes, very true.
That's a mistake that I've kind of fallen into. And, you know, I said the thing about the, with the English school, like in the beginning, it was on WordPress and it would just be like, here's a page about the course, what the course does. And then there's a HubSpot form at the bottom, submit it if you want to sign up. It worked great. People signed up all the time, but I was always like, no, it's gotta be better. It's gotta be this, it's gotta be that, you know? And I told you about a guy, Niels Meissen, who was on, I think that was episode 4. And he kind of said his, one of the things he learned from when he was starting one of his earlier companies is you need to actually validate that the things that you're making people actually want, that there's a demand or a need for, you know? And sometimes like, and when I was talking to him a while back and he was, you know, reminding me like, dude, you got to just, you know, push the product, do whatever, because you do start to build up in your mind what people, oh, it needs to be like this. And he says, who told you that?
It's
you
what
know?
you want it to be.
That's what you want
That's
it to
what
be.
your customer wants it to be.
So, but that's interesting though, because it kind of ties into, so when you started the next Amazon business, and I don't want to, if you have anything really interesting that you want to add into that, please do. But the reason you started it with, it was like plant pots, right?
Yeah,
for people, but you noticed kind of a really interesting void there that people weren't really happy with what was available. And then you kind of came with something new and better, right?
Yeah, correct. This was totally different from the first business, as in the product, the way the product was selected was different. So the first business, we went into the existing categories in Amazon, existing products. We saw what was the demand for these products, how are the sales going, and how can we make the product better instead of looking at what is missing on Amazon. So if you're only looking at the current products and how they are doing, you'll never find something that is not there, because it's simply not there yet. So so what I did, and I'm not sure if I did it intentionally, but what I found on Etsy was this seller that had a huge amount of reviews, and he made all this really cool custom handmade furniture from wood. He had like 5 different hardwood species, like oak, walnut. Americans love walnut wood.
Yeah, they do.
It's insane. The Europeans don't even know what it is, I think. Americans want everything walnut. The whole house has to be made from walnut. So reviews were going crazy. And I just did a simple quick maths. 2% of people organically leave reviews. Let's assume this guy doesn't push and annoy people to leave reviews. And you can do the reviews times 50. That's what the guy was selling. So daily reviews times 50 is around the sales what he was doing. And I couldn't believe it. Like, this is insane what this guy is selling. And I was looking on Amazon, nothing like it there.
Well, sorry, I totally, that sounds like a very nice insight. So you said you can almost guess how much people are selling if you take their daily reviews and multiply it times 50.
Yes, because organically, people... 2% of people would leave a review.
Yeah.
All the reviews you see, Google Maps, Thuisbezorgd, all the other websites.
That sounds like an insanely high number, 2%. Like, actually leave
high?
a review. Yeah. I feel like people are way lazier than that.
Oh yeah, actually two of every 100 people. But Amazon maybe is different because they do send their follow-up emails and stuff like that. I'm not sure if for example, Google Maps, you would really have to do it out of yourself. No one would be creepy if Google would send you like, you've been at this restaurant, please leave a review. Actually, they do. Anyways.
They do that, yeah. Tell people how it is on the transportation method you're using right now. Is it busy? We're like, what are you doing?
Is it true you're now at a Korean fried chicken restaurant?
On your mind from last time.
Anyways, so quick calculation showed me, and I do notice this is a trend now that I'm copying people all the time.
Hey, but that's what you got to do, man.
This is what I found that that makes you don't have to make business so hard. I always have the feeling that people want to have a completely unique idea, if they find something that looks easy as probably someone else has done it already, or no, I need something completely unique that is extremely hard, I would just look at the very simple things and make it better. That's where I think my skill is. I need an example. I need an example of to see, okay, this stuff works. And then I find myself motivated enough to put in the time and the effort because I know this works and I can do it better.
Yeah.
So yeah, also when I think about creativity, for example, it's not, and this is something I only discovered a few months ago, after some deep thinking about why am I copying all this stuff all the time. Creativity is not thinking about something completely new. It's getting all these things that have inspired you, all these ideas, and applying them in a new context. And then you create something new as well, but it's just simply getting something from one context, placing it in another one.
That's kind of evolution in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly,
pretty natural.
And for me, that's how I like to do business. See what works somewhere else and then apply it. Just a very short example. In my studies in Groningen, there was another guy started his own business, a very successful business. He saw the Dollar Shave ads in the US. And then he thought, okay, I can do the same, even better, do it in the Netherlands. And this guy grew a very successful business with Dollar Shave shavers in the Netherlands.
Wow.
With his own website, but I thought it looked better as well. So yeah, taking something that works in the US, applying it in your own local market, I think is a good way of doing business. So what I did was taking a successful product from Etsy, but this was handmade. This guy I knew was a mom and pop guy, same age as me, with his girlfriend. They were really crafting the wood, looked beautiful, but it took so much time. They would have delays of 2 weeks, extremely high shipping costs, not efficient. So
you corporatized it.
Yes.
You bastard. You put the mom and pop artisan plant pot maker out of business with your American greed.
It is how it is.
All greed is American now, by the way. It's no such thing as any other.
Asian greed. Asians can be greedy as well.
Well, I wanted to talk about that because you can finish this, but you're actually talking about some of the best advice that you give other people about the Amazon thing. So,
yeah, that's advice I always give. And then I see like, wow, I never thought about this.
I had never heard that before. So, and I've actually given that advice now to other people, but so we were in Corfu and this guy was asking you kind of about the Amazon stuff. And basically you told him a lot of things, but the one that you said is you need to have like, you gave a number of like how much money you should have, like or how much inventory you should
estimate.
have, right?
Yeah.
What was that again? It was
it's something like you need to calculate your first batch of inventory. How much is it going to cost? And you're always tied to a minimum amount, minimum purchase quantity from the factory, or they won't do business with you.
Mm-hmm.
So this minimum amount, you need to have 2.5 times worth of that as your buffer,
right? Because
you want to, if it hits, if it's a success, you want to immediately purchase maybe even double of that. You want to have money left for marketing. You know, if you don't have money left, you need to wait until the whole batch sells out. You need to wait 2 months for production, 1 month for shipping. You're giving competition 3 months.
Yeah, I thought that was fascinating because you basically laid out how, like you said, these copycats, many of them are Chinese. These copycats are sitting there with a lot of money.
Yeah.
And as soon as they're watching these charts every single day, they're seeing what's trending, whatever. And they're just waiting for a new successful product to come up.
They get a notice on their phone like, ping, this new sale.
And new in the top 10 or new in the whatever. So they do that. And then bam, immediately they're going to copy you and they're going to buy 10 times as much inventory than you at least. And what you said, what happens is it's all about the reviews in Amazon. Who has the most reviews is going to be higher up on the rankings and all that kind of stuff. And that's clearly what's going to dictate who gets more sales. So
first mover advantage is extremely high.
So if you come in with a great new idea and it's awesome, everybody loves it, but now you're out and you got to wait 2 months to kind of re-up. And this other person comes in and now they buy 20, 50 times the inventory that you would be able to buy. And so then in that 2 months while you're down, they're getting reviews and they're pushing it and they're getting more reviews than you. And now they just outpace you. You can never catch back up to that copycat. Yeah. Like you're in the dust as far as the way the algorithms and all that stuff go.
Exactly right. You got behind and you you can never get to the number one unless you do some crazy black hat tactics and stuff.
That's my specialty. That's the black hat
That's
stuff.
what you
We'll
do.
talk about that offline.
On the private other channel you have.
But I think that's also interesting because most people, when they start these things, they prepare for failure, right? They do what they can to mitigate the risk and to prevent bad things happening. They don't want to lose too much money. So you kind of like, they try to do some smart things, try to make sure they still have some savings and this and that. I don't think most people really prepare for success. You don't think,
Yes.
what's going to happen if this blows up? You know, what happens if everybody loves my product? You know what I mean? And so for that to be kind of the tip of like, yeah, you do have to be prepared for your idea to be a success.
Yeah, exactly. So I was expecting, for me, it was either hit or miss. This would be a failure product or it would be a great success. And I knew if it was a success, I would need to be ordering at least this amount for the second batch. So I would need to have this money set aside, and I would have the factories lined up, one factory lined up to get ready with production as soon as possible. So the first batch, as small as possible, hit the US. I started, it went live on Amazon, and first day it sold 25 units one day.
Nice.
I had one image, no bullet points, only it said wooden plant stand with one photo. And
Wooden
it sold,
plant stand. That's so Dutch.
I put walnut in there.
Oh,
they love it. 25 units, and the first day I placed a new order.
Nice.
Because then I knew I would already be too late.
Yeah.
So placed a new order, and then went from there. Then I went changing the whole product page, making the photos better, and also then again I knew this was not a perfect product. The product had was actually acacia wood, so it looks like walnut. So I said walnut style,
walnut-like,
walnut finishing,
almond drink.
But apparently they the factory used not the best batch of acacia wood. The batch, if you have the tree, it would have a nice evenly toned brown colored wood on the outside, and then it would have white inside. And if you use like that mixed brown white as for the wood, you would have strange plant stand combinations. You would have one half all white and one half all brown. Looked really weird. Well, people wanted an evenly brown colored plant stand. So I got reviews, 2.5 stars. People were really unhappy. I was sending in free replacements, of course, keeping the customers happy. But yeah, so I launched it. I knew it wasn't perfect, but while we were producing the second batch, we would implement the solution. And then I realized, okay, everything is flexible in the end. You can make changes.
Just gotta
you can
keep moving.
Yeah, you got to keep moving, keep the ball running. And I mean, the listing, I found a way to keep the positive reviews and to split it off. So when I would launch the second batch with a good product, I would still have at least some reviews and a listing that had built up some history in Amazon, had some sales velocity, and I could just keep on going.
And did you get copycatted?
Yeah. One competitor, and this shows how much influence this copycat had. But he wasn't a copycat. He entered like 2 weeks after me. Too short notice of he couldn't have produced it in that time. So this guy was onto the same idea.
Thing, man. Wow.
And we've always remained from that day onwards, 4 years ago, we've always remained. He's number one, I'm number two, and he's number one in sales because he sells it for like half price. So he was really targeting a different market. I was targeting the higher end market. He made a really good product, but not the exact design that people were looking for. Was a bit more bulky. Didn't have the finishing, the smooth finishing all around. But it was fine for most people, and for the price, it was good. My design was finished perfectly. Came in a giftable packaging, but a higher price point. So we always remained number one, number two, and that was fine. But you saw all those. Now when you look at it, there's like 200 copycats. They all got left behind. Never reached up to those spots.
Yeah, it's like once you have those dominating couples, same as Google, you know, if you're in the first couple spots on Google, it's tough. And then
That's it, and that's why Amazon businesses suddenly became sellable,
mm,
and this year has been a complete boom. But that's because they know this product listing is an asset.
right.
It's an asset with so many reviews. It's something you can keep on generating money from, even if you would make changes to the product or something else. You could keep the asset, and it's just a cash cow. So this is what brings the value when. So I sold my business beginning of this year. I was really interested in what kind of questions would I get, what kind of things would they like about my business, what would they not like. And I noticed from all the parties that were interested in buying, they only wanted to have those product pages. They only wanted to know, are all the reviews that you have, are they legit? Are they there to stay? Is it something we would have for the long term? But all the questions were about the product pages and the relationships with the suppliers. So those things are definitely most important if you wanna sell the business. All the other stuff like how you manage your team, um, maybe some minor changes to the product or some other website you have, other channels, don't matter that much. It's only about the real assets.
Mm. So why did you sell?
That's a good question. I never thought about selling before. I always thought I was gonna build this to a crazy furniture store, build out all different kinds of sofas, tables. I had ideas for everything.
Walnut everything.
Walnutify it. Yeah, I had these ideas and I have them all written down. I even tested them with I really wanted to have my audience become part of the brand.
Mm.
This was one major thing I think what made the brand a success as well is um, as soon as they receive the packaging, there would be an insert in it that would incentivize them to go to my website and just share information. I didn't necessarily want them to post a review on Amazon. I wanted to know more about them. I wanted to know what they liked, what they didn't like, and this for them was they like 20% was the statistic. I think 20% took action on this insert, and they went to the website. I gave them a gift, like a miniature version of the plant stand, and they would enter very elaborate feedback. And in the beginning, it was just one sentence: good product, all good, okay. Didn't like color, very short. But simply asking them
Yep.
more and more, I found out, okay, I can ask them a lot of things. I can even ask a photo. So, okay, we would really appreciate if you would upload a photo here. Can you make your review 5 sentences or more? This helps us more. And everyone just agreed. They started writing really elaborate reviews, gave me so much valuable information. And I started asking more questions. Okay, what do you want to see? You can think of everything. What kind of new product would you want us to have in the Fox and Fern style? And they would come up with all these ideas. Some guy sending me over complete PowerPoint presentations. Like, I built this for my daughter. It would be amazing if you can make it in this style. I would be so happy. And we got this whole pile of feedback. And that for me was a true gold mine. So
Wow.
I always knew, okay, what variations should we bring out next? What kind of so that's for when I got to the second phase was planters, actual plant pots, because I knew people were buying the plant stands, but they would have a very hard time finding a suitable planter. And
Mm.
they would tell me all about it. Like I would like this color planter, this big, all the sizes, dimensions. Why don't you make your plant stand in a taller version? Why don't you make it larger one because my plant doesn't fit in the smaller one? And then would be just easy. I would always be working on the next step, and then I didn't care about the copycats once because I would always be working on the
Was a
second
step
product.
ahead.
Well, yeah, it sounds cheesy, but it
No, I like it a lot actually because it's very interesting that yeah, you start with just the stand itself, like, and then you kind of ask people, what do you want? What was there a market for from the literal people who are showing you, I have money and am willing to spend it on these types of products.
yes,
They tell you, you listen, then you launch the real money maker, which is kind of, the, I guess, actual planner, like that you put the pot
the
that you put the
combination.
plants in.
Yeah.
And so your website, you sold it, like you said, but it was Fox and Fern?
Fox and Fern. That's the brand.
FOXANDFERN?
Yeah,
or with an
yeah.
and.
And is the ampersand.
Okay, so FOX and sign symbol whatever FERN.com or .nl.com.
Oh, the website itself is FOX-FERN.com.
Okay. Just for if people have the idea and they want to go see, you know, kind of put a
Yeah, sure.
face to a name kind of deal. But that's really, yeah, I think because that's one of the things, and we'll get back into what was the experience like selling it and stuff like that. But one of the things that you told me at your house once that really made me interested to do the podcast episode is you were telling me one night about how you had this disaster with all these orders that it kind of took you guys weeks to just like sit there and fix it all. And the thing is,
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
Traumatic experience.
Well, the thing is, everybody, you know, hears about drop shipping and all this kind of stuff, and they think it's basically like a get rich quick kind of thing, right? Like everybody thinks that, and part of the reason, you know, why I want to have you on is because I do want to inspire people to say like, you can have your own thing, you can start your own business, you can do your own Amazon deal. Like nothing is out of reach really if you have the kind of like desire to do it and you have the tinker ability and the work ethic and whatever. I think it's very clear when people watch this that you're very passionate about it, you enjoy it. You're not just going to sit up there though one day and say, I want to get rich and I'm going to do it in the easiest way possible, which is drop shipping or this and that. You didn't do just drop shipping where it's like, okay, I found an AliExpress product that anybody could buy and then I put it on Amazon. I buy some listing. You literally, you know, went to China. You flew to China and met with suppliers. You know, did a totally different design from scratch on these plant pots and stuff like that. You designed the plant stand yourself. Like it's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah, no, true. And I'm happy you brought it up with the get rich quick schemes because I realize many people telling about their Amazon business or whatever drop shipping business. It always sounds like a get quick rich scheme. Maybe you can still do some drop shipping if you're really good at how do you
marketing
say?
Or
how do you call it when someone purchases advertisements when they know
PPC or
it's PPC.
Oh, affiliates. Affiliates.
Oh, okay. PPC. If you're a star in that, you can do crazy drop shipping businesses. But for sure, Amazon is not a get rich quick scheme. You cannot make it anymore with just a product from AliExpress or just copying, even looking at a product that is doing well on Amazon and making a better version. It's become insanely hard. You really need something new. And that's also what I believe I told the guy on Corfu when he was talking about his ideas. It all starts with the product. If you don't have your product right, you're gonna have to you're sailing with the wind against you.
Yeah.
And you have to throw so much money into it to make it work. You have to spend so much on advertising, so much on the marketing. You need a product that will sell itself already, and then you can just make it even sell more with proper marketing. But it should sell without you having to put in the marketing effort, just because it's such a well thought out product. It doesn't have to be designed like it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to address a need that is missing on the Amazon marketplace. But then again, even if you have that, you need funding. You need way more cash than I expected. People, I now get angry if I see ads like start your business with $500.
I know. It's such
even
bullshit.
A few thousand is not going to make it. You need to get, if you don't have it, if you don't have enough, get friends and family, but really get proper funding or a stable job that brings in this funding, so you can grow. Because the first step is not enough. Just getting the inventory there, you need to be able to scale it as well, and that takes a lot of money.
Yeah, I think oftentimes my message to people is I don't want my message to sound like anybody can do it. Because that's not actually what I mean. What I normally want to try to get across is that if imposter syndrome or if just kind of like internal doubt, resistance, if these are the only things that are in your way,
yeah, sure,
you can do it. You know what I mean? Like everybody had that feeling. Like everybody always thinks. I was listening to a podcast the other day and like these uber successful people were still saying like, I still feel like I'm a fraud. Like people are going to find out at some point I don't really know what I'm doing. So everybody literally feels that way. So if those mental blocks, if those are the things, or if you're afraid that, you know what I mean? Like I think a lot of people maybe have what it takes, but they're just too safe. They like they're too comfortable maybe.
Yeah.
They don't want to leave their job. They don't want to do this. Like that's difficult. You know what I mean? Like it's difficult for people to do, but not everybody can do it. You know, I don't want people to think that that's my position because you can't. And especially today with how difficult it is, like you said, with Amazon and these different things, I don't think people should watch this podcast and think I can definitely start an Amazon business tomorrow and it'll be easy and whatever. And no, and I know that you're definitely a success story of kind of like following, doing the things that you love, staying passionate about it, selling your business, and it works out, you know, like you're by 99% of people's definition successful now, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
But it wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't definitely not easy. And this made me change my whole stance as well. I really thought, and that was maybe a bit naive, but I really thought every guy I met, every girl I met during the studies, they could do exactly the same. If they wanted, they could start their own business. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. I would tell anyone, yeah, we can all do it. Let's all start our own business.
You get a car.
You get your business. You get your business. But I really changed on this subject. Even though I still believe a lot of people can do it, I don't think a lot of people really want to do it. It's a different type of life as well. It can be extremely lonely as well, because you have to do so much things by yourself. You don't have a team to back it up. You have to be able to resist or to suffer, and also to get all these obstacles, these challenges. You shouldn't be fazed by it. So you really shouldn't be how do you say? You should be overly optimistic. You should be overly optimistic. Otherwise, you're gonna have a hard time facing all these rejections, all these challenges.
Yeah.
Always have this voice inside of your head saying, "Okay, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. Just have to change this. You have to change this, and it's gonna be fine." So to keep on going. But now, I do believe there's many people that definitely can do it. And like you said, if the only obstacle is this voice saying, "No, you're not good enough," or you're not. Or
you
yeah,
can't
look at
be
your
like,
life
that
now.
person's better than you, or
That person's better. You're comparing yourself to others, or your life is so comfortable right now. You don't want to give this up. You don't want to risk it. Then definitely you can get rid of those. If you can get rid of those mental blocks, you can go for it and become successful 100%.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to. I think this suffering part is very important. This delayed gratification, because even if you have a full-time job, you don't have to quit your full-time job. You can do it during night hours if you don't have a family and 3 kids to feed. But if you're by yourself or with a partner, only the 2 of you, you can definitely do it in night hours. All the time you spend, I don't know, watching TV or...
yeah, I mean, that's how I started mine. I think you probably did the same thing, but you know, it's like I would just be sitting there in the living room until 2 or 3 a.m. just like on my laptop. I'd put my headphones in if I needed to. You know, it's like it's and you do. I think it's very helpful when you have support from other people who are kind of willing to, you know, cook you dinner or something while you're sitting there like coding away and stuff like that. I mean, it's not. You don't have to have that, because when you don't have that around, then you find time to cook for yourself or whatever. I think that's one of the things that it's like Elon Musk and some people kind of put out this notion that you have to sleep on the floor of your office and you only have time for fast food. And so then you have to gain 50 pounds and look like shit. Like, I don't believe that. Like, I think that you can still have levels to kind of control things and whatever. But yeah, I think that little like finding the times at night or finding the times that I think if it's something that you really want to do, you'll find the time for it. You know, I said this before
100%.
Before I bought my iPad, it was like, there's all these sexy things about the iPad. It's like, you can draw and you can do this. And it's like, you're going to be a totally different person with an iPad than you were before. It's like, I don't draw with a pen and paper now, you know, why am I going to do it when they give me a fancy ass pencil that I'm supposed to use? But you said something else, because in the beginning, when you said the thing about you guys did all that work and then you maybe made €2 off the first e-commerce business or something, but you still felt proud of it. I talked about this with Christina. I talked about this with Boz and with both guys from Moonback. Like it's because they're all entrepreneurs, you know, and also with with Pam, you know, every entrepreneur kind of has to have this little bit of a like it doesn't really make sense. It's not really logic based why you do these actions and why you put so much time in. And I think it comes down to something to do with independence and freedom and ambition, whatever. Because when I first started Weaver English, like I knew I wanted to start my own English school before I moved to Rotterdam. That was kind of one of the reasons for moving. But when I moved here, I still had the teaching job where I was just literally going 4 hours a night, 2 nights a week or something like that, making really good money. Very easy, you know what I mean? And I also had another part-time like contractor job that I was doing, making good money, like not having to work that many hours, whatever. And I think after the first like 18 months or something, I figured out all the revenue I had made from my own English school, all the hours I had put in. And I was like, I should have just kept fucking teaching part-time, like the money would have been so much better. But the experience, like I wouldn't trade that 2 years, for the world. And everything was going really well, like the scalability, the potential
Yeah,
for
it's a long-term
yeah,
long-term outlook, the potential you see in it. That's what makes it worth it.
right.
Not the money at that moment.
And that's what I think a lot of people don't have that, and you have to be a little bit. I mean, psychopathic is a bit of an exaggeration, but you got to be a little, a few screws loose I think, to put all the time and effort into starting a business, because in reality, like even the money itself is not a good enough reason to do it. Like you could go from your experience at Bunk or something, like you could go, move to the US, be a director of some department or whatever, make over 100K a year. And I'm just saying, people who are in these kind of positions, you can make a real good salary and you don't have to be a millionaire to be pretty happy and
comfortable job with freedom as well. Work from home, stuff like that. True. It is not there's so many people who will tell you like why simply why so you have to believe 100% believe in yourself that very important, know why you're doing this. Even if this why will only come to fruition in like 10 years or something, we'll have freedom by then, or whatever it is what you're pursuing. For me, it was definitely freedom, not only in money, but freedom in location, freedom in time. So how can I spend my time the way I want to? And this I finally now I've achieved all those 3 goals, and then comes the even harder part.
We'll talk about that. Shit, what did I just want to say? I wanted to say one thing but okay, since I forgot it. But
we'll go to the existential crisis now.
Well, let's do it, because I think like what I was about to say is that I think like for me, it feels like, I don't want it to sound like arrogant or douchebaggy to where it's like I think entrepreneurs or artists, but it's like for me, it's a sense of creative expression, like building, businesses or websites or whatever, like that's how I can really express my creativity. I can't express my creativity I've been able to do it musically at times, like, but never with drawing, or I'm a pretty good writer, like that, that's a decent way to do it. But for me, like, I do feel like that's my most rewarding creative expression. And so I think like when you're in college and you start hearing about these people and how they did businesses in unique ways, how they started them themselves, like you hear about the Airbnb guys, the reason why you connect with them is you feel that in yourself. You see their creative expression in the form of their business. And then now
you're building something.
Yeah. And you're like, that's what I want to be doing. There's something inside you that kind of starts to tell you, no, that's what you need to be doing. Cause like it recognizes it and it connects it. So it's not so much about business per se. It's more about, you doing the activities that make you feel like, who you are.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's also what I miss about, the one thing I miss about not running the Amazon business anymore is, and what I enjoyed the most was the whole part of designing the product. Really thinking about how can I make this better? How can I make this my own design? So letting all your creativity into it. I forgot to mention about the plan set. I didn't just copy and paste that plan set that was selling well. I was reading through all the reviews and I saw people couldn't find a matching pot. So that's when I designed the adjustable plan stand. So people could adjust it from 12 to 8 inches in width, and they could put whatever pot they had in their home. They could put it and adjust the plan stand to fit it perfectly.
Genius.
And that for me, that was like I spent all my time in that, and that I really loved. And then to to answer your question, why I sold the business is because I now had, after that success, I had 4 years of not really designing a product from scratch anymore. I just launched new variations, made it taller, made it darker, made it lighter, made it big, made it light. Everything, different colors. But it wasn't giving me the satisfaction that I had in the beginning. I was managing the business. I was trying to keep it run as smoothly as possible, keeping all the people in a row. That's it, and I didn't enjoy it anymore. So that's why when the offers came in, I decided now is the time.
So you were at this point where you kind of either had to decide, hire more people, scale, make this like an even bigger company, because then you would have to have the people like doing all that management stuff for you while you got to design and create and whatever. Or like you say, the offers start coming in because of your position in Amazon. I'm assuming people then just start messaging you and saying,
exactly,
name your price.
Oh, they named their price. It's crazy.
Man.
They just throw offers at you.
Even more tempting.
It is.
How long do you have to wait until you get the biggest one? That's what I think.
It's you don't wait. Know. You need to. That's what I found out for another crazy German guy. A good story as well. But this guy really helped me with this selling of the business, and I didn't know him at all. Met him in a WeChat group. But anyways.
WeChat? What are you, Chinese?
Yeah, I was I was feeling Chinese at 4 years. He told me, don't sign anything. Every morning I would wake up, don't sign, don't sign, don't sign. That's the only thing he messaged me. Don't sign. I said, I don't even know you. He said, don't sign. And then he recommended me all these other Amazon acquirers, and I simply took my offers and I went to the other parties. I said, okay, I got this offer on the table. I got this offer on the table. What do you offer? And went from one to the other, to the other, to the other. And it went higher and higher and higher. And at the moment I couldn't believe, like, okay, this is double the initial offer.
This is stupid money.
This random German guy made me double the whole thing, the whole business.
Wow. Thanks to that guy.
Insane. And I never met him in person. He doesn't want to. Sad story.
Typical dark web, WeChat, crypto German.
Anonymized avatar. But yeah, then that's how I got the offers to increase, and then went for the highest one. So yeah, you said I had to hire the right people in order to scale it. It went even further than that. I came to a point where I really didn't know how can I grow this. Every year, beginning of the year, I would make a plan. I would have a target of how far I would want to grow the business. And I reached that target for 3 years. And I knew exactly the steps to take in order to grow to that amount. That year, I didn't know anymore. I wasn't feeling like it. I didn't know how can I grow it more. It was taking so much cash, extremely cash flow intensive. I was still on the same salary as before I started the business because I couldn't take any more out of the business. Everything went straight into inventory. I couldn't grow it anymore. So yeah, that's it. Then I had to. I wanted to, and I had to.
I think it's a good time to walk away though, because even we talk about this with economics and all this other stuff where people get too obsessed with growth. Like there's going to be a point when things mature, they level off, whatever. Yeah. And if you enjoy the growth part of the journey, well, yeah, cut your wins in this scenario, not your losses, but take your winnings and kind of do something else. And before we get into the existential crisis part, I just want to say that I'm proud of you. And I think it's a super awesome story to be able to kind of like the way that you've done it, all the work that you've put in, the example you can kind of, set for other people, because like you said, it is about the freedom, the independence of, you've created financial freedom for yourself. You've created, 4+ years of your life doing something that you actually enjoy, not working, like a dog for some boss that you hate kind of deal. Like, it's I think it's really
thanks, man.
Cool what you've done, and I think you should be proud of it for sure.
Thanks. Yeah, and I have to say also I had so much support from friends as well, telling me, giving me advice on should I sell the business or what should I do here. It's so many people around me that I owe a lot to. So it's definitely yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm not an awards show, so I don't think they're going to see this and then call you and get all excited. But all right, so I guess last part we'll cover here and then we'll wrap it up and go get some food. But now you're at the part where, because I think this is very fascinating because I heard the guy who just won Mr. Olympia for the third time in a row, or the Classic Physique, Chris Bumstead, he was saying like, people always think that you get to this point where you win and then maybe you win again. And it's like, now I'm here. Now I've made it. Like now I feel successful. And he was like, I still don't feel successful. Like I feel like I'm not successful until maybe I win the 6th one or the 7th one or whatever. And it's like, but now I have these other business ventures on the side that I'm trying to do. It's like, you never actually hit that point. And then now you think, thank God I made it. Like I'm here. I don't have to do anything else. So without like, throwing your personal business out there, like, you are successful by 99+% of people. If you look at the global population, like you're in a very small percentage of people who have, like you started a business, you sold it, you're financially independent. Like now what kind of deal, Now you're right back to that same square of you don't feel like I made it, I'm successful, it's over. You know what I mean? And I just think you're in a good position to talk about that and share that with other people.
Yeah, it's really strange what you expect it to feel like and how it really feels like. I didn't have high expectations of, okay, this is how it feels like when I sell the business or anything, or what success feels like. But in a way, it feels even like there's more pressure. Because if I would have had this podcast, for example, with you 3 years ago, I could freely talk about the business, whatever, just be me. Now I feel like, okay, I have to act like a successful person because I did this and I did this and I did this. So now I should feel different about this and about I should be in a different position in life now. I should be a different person, but I'm exactly the same. I don't feel any different when I was a student. I don't feel different. I feel more free and I feel really grateful. But that's it.
Do you feel now like it was easier back before because you had nothing to lose? And now you have something to lose, and there's probably way more pressure on you now than there was the last time.
More pressure, I think, for myself maybe to perform. Like now I cannot start a new business and make it a complete failure. I need to keep on a streak. But I don't really feel like there's a lot to lose either. I feel like I'm quite safe. Also, because of this financial background, I know financially wise, I know how to keep money apart of which I can live. So that's all sorted and still have money left to invest and start very risky projects. So I think this balance is good. So not so much what is to lose, but maybe maybe a reputation for myself, and maybe if the next business fails, then it would feel like maybe a bigger failure than a previous business would feel, something like that. But for the rest, it's fine. That's not so much the issue. It's more the issue of what am I going to do? Well, I would always have a drive, like a big an appetite, hunger for this freedom. Once I would have, for example, freedom from not having to do a job, I would have my own business, but I would still be tied to cash flow issues. And I would still have people to manage. So I would not have complete freedom in time, but I would have freedom in location. I would have freedom in not having to report to a boss. So those two were checked. And now suddenly the financial part is checked as well, and the time part is checked. And now what do you have left to really go for? And then I always tell myself, like, okay, you want something that makes an impact on the world. You want to do maybe something good as well for other people. But that's not making me as hungry for some reason. And discovering that also makes me think like, okay, what do I then really, really want? But then I figured out what I really want is just building building nice businesses. I want to start businesses that I truly enjoy, and not so much for the money anymore, if it was about that in the first place, but ones that I really find fun. So maybe not doing it all by myself this time, doing it with people I like to work with, and having at least some kind of impact that I can feel or see. the impact I was having in the US from the Amazon businesses, I saw these numbers with all these sales and I saw the positive reviews, but I never saw a customer. I never saw my product in someone's house. I never saw the Fox and Fern brand in the US. So I didn't really feel anything. I was just there and behind the computer seeing all these numbers. The one time, and that's when I started thinking about this, I went to a conference in China, and I was talking to a random Amazon seller from Singapore. And I was giving her all these tips. She was just starting out, but she was doing it for a year. And she also gave me some really helpful tips. And then people are always very secretive about what they sell on Amazon. They want no one to know it, so they can't copy. I always talked about the brand. I was thinking, I got 100 copycats already. Why not have 101? So I showed the brand, and then I saw her eyes light up, and she had to get her husband over. Wow. All my friends from the US, they call me like, this brand is amazing, Fox and Fern. You should look it up on Amazon. And we have all the plant stands. We got one at home. And then the feeling I got, I was like, I want more of. I want to see the impact that I'm actually making. That people are actually happy with the things I'm building. That for me really gives satisfaction in what I do, and that makes me proud of the business, not the other stuff, not the money that comes in, not the numbers. So for this new business that I'm starting, so I finally figured something that I really want to do in Africa. This one, I'm already thinking about, okay, how can I make sure, even though I'm not in Africa, how can I make sure that I'm seeing what is being done? I'm seeing what kind of impact that's being made. Going there maybe twice a year, visiting the people that we are helping. Are we actually helping them? Are we providing a solution to a problem that existed, or are we making our own problem to which we're providing our own solution? Stuff like that. No. I want to actually see it this time, and I want to work with someone that I think is fun to work with, and is of course also a good business partner. So I hope I got both of these boxes checked, and let's see where it goes from here.
I think that's awesome. And you just went in September for a month, right? To Nairobi?
Yeah, September. Yeah. I visited Nairobi for the main reason to visit the business partner I was going to work with, to see and really get the feeling of, okay, will this be a successful long-term cooperation? And the other part was, how is the actual life in Kenya?
Is your product going to actually help life there?
For sure.
And
we knew there was one competitor. So we wanted to find out how well was this competitor doing. And we found out this competitor was doing great, which for us was
a
good sign. Yeah. Exactly. It didn't scare us or anything. It gave us more motivation. Like, okay, it works. Yep. Now we just have to do it better.
Yeah, there you go again. Yeah,
same thread again.
Copying people. No, but I think I've only been to Africa once, and that was Senegal, like right before COVID happened. But when I was there, it seems just like a place where there is so much energy and there's so much ambition. Yeah, and, they call them like frontier markets or whatever, like in financial terms and whatnot. But you really do, like when I was a kid, I grew up, like I loved kind of, terrible to say this now, but like Columbus and the colonization era and all that stuff. Like I just loved that whole kind of adventurous thing of, these crazy ass Europeans, they go across the world.
So to clear the adventure part behind the colonization.
Yes. Okay. I didn't know so much about the racist part and all of the terrible parts at the time. When I was a kid, they don't tell you that, but no, the adventure part and the, kind of just going off to in this brand new world type of deal, like that part I still find fascinating. And so I think Africa is in a bit business-wise a frontier. You know what I mean? It's a place that any bit of money that you can take there, any bit of kind of like, brain power or experience, whatever that you can take there. And I think that I shouldn't say any money or any brain power, whatever, because there is this kind of neo-colonial thing going on now where all these American and European companies go there and then they just
do good things.
Yeah, and then you make money for white people in the US and Europe, and very little actually goes to the people there. So I'm not trying to go there and recreate an Amazon type of deal, like exploit the people at the bottom. But I do want to go be a part of that. I want to go there and help initiate growth for the sake of actually producing things and making things better. Not like you say, you don't want to just go there and take the American mindset there of like create a problem to create a solution or type of stuff. Like I don't want to do that, but I want to go, and if there's people trying to do cool shit, I want to help them do cool shit. You know what I mean? So I think it's great that that's kind of the next place that you're actually taking that to, because actually in Corfu, when we were having that chat, it might have even been before that. I was telling you, like when we were joking about, co-working spaces and stuff like that, I was saying,
you were telling me, yeah.
I was like, I'd love to start a co-working space in Africa, and so I'm starting now is a bit ambitious, but join one, do whatever. Like there's lots of cool stuff, but I'm very glad that that's kind of the path that you've taken now, because I think that's
there is
fulfilling.
A lot of potential for co-working places in places like Nairobi. Dutch people are starting them there. It's like 3 or 4, and they're all running really successful because there's so much, like you said, so much energy. People starting their own companies, and they all need a nice place to work.
Well, we talked about this before of how like I'm so complimentary of the CIC, because they have their operations down so well, and you can tell that they've started multiple spaces, and every time they took detailed notes, and they have like this, full manual on if this happens, then you do this. If this happens, you do this. When you have a new tenant, you do this checklist. Like when you have that
systemized the whole co-working.
When you have that experience and you've documented and systemized and done all those things, that benefits the tenants, that benefits the people who actually want to work there and use it. So that's what I mean by you can take this experience and you can take this knowledge to places like Africa, because if they have to start from, square one, like they shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. The co-working space is successful in many places and done really well. If you bring that asset there and now you tell 50 something, people in Kenya or Senegal or something like that, hey, come here, work with people your same age, with your same ambition level. Like there's tons of people that know how to code, tons of crypto, geniuses over there. I think if you can provide more to the infrastructure there, then I think actually the kind of human infrastructure is what they need more help with, in the sense of they need more, I guess, like knowledge and specific things that they don't have as much experience with, because they haven't been in the business, climate of the US or Europe or whatever. They need co-working spaces. They need obviously investors and stuff like that. So
just like we don't know how a lot of things are being done in China, they have no idea how a lot of things are being done in Europe. So for sure, it's easy to take the things that are working here and implement them there, because many of the ideas they would love just as much.
You can this could actually be a very broad conversation topic, but it's like, there's a lot of people that talk about how, when we started exporting all the manufacturing jobs to Asia, that obviously the middle class is who that hurt the most and immediately. But what people have talked about recently is that people aren't paying attention to the fact that that's also going to hurt the like upper middle to / lower upper class, like your engineers and people like that, because there's only so long you can be an expert in engineering as a society if you're not actually making the things in your, country. There's only so long you can like know about the best manufacturing practices and blah, 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 if you're not actually doing it in your country. So at the moment, we're pretty good at tech stuff and all the white collar things, and we know how to move money around and not get taxed on it for sure, but different areas of the world have different expertise on things. And I think the world is only getting smaller. So I think the future is going to be bright in the sense of different parts of the world connecting and kind of sharing this knowledge and creating better solutions in the long run.
Yeah, 100% agreed. So we're moving to Africa?
Yep. Moving to Africa. It's done. We settled it here. All right. Well, thank you very much, Merlijn. Man, this is a nice long chat. Is there anything that you want to promote or anything like that? Because, you just sold your company. So now if you promoted it, it wouldn't do any, good. But most people, when they come on and they say, I go to this website, blah, blah, blah. You don't have an Instagram, so you can't promote
I have
that.
nothing anymore.
Nothing. Well, I guess I'll just promote myself then. So if you like Merlijn, follow the Lucas Weaver Show. There you go.
I do have interesting business in Kenya coming up, which is called Koalo. So in the future, there's nothing there yet, but if you go to koalo.co.k, the Kenyan address, there it's going to be the first information is going to be there.
Nice. I actually do have some people in my network that live there. So that could be interesting to see you guys get connected at some point. I want to go there soon, actually. And you never know how these episodes work. Like maybe a year from now is when the show has enough of a following and people are checking it out. And then now they go and they find your website. Oh, there's actually something here. Koalo.co.k.
Exactly. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks a lot for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate your time. I'm excited to go get some lunch after this because definitely worked up an appetite. Thanks, everybody, for watching once again. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram. That's it. Bye, everybody.